So I think by now we can all agree that Zombies Chronicles 2 is finished. It's finito. Done. We are not going to get it. That's not to say in the future that's still going to be the case, maybe this year in COD 2024 or next year with what's supposed to be a sequel to Black Ops 2. That would be the perfect time for Treyarch to release Zombies Chronicles 2, but for now it has been sidelined, and it actually got to a point for me where we were being told by so many credible leakers that we were going to be getting Zombies Chronicles 2. Every other month they'd be saying this to us, and it just never happened. So eventually I was like, you know what, okay, I'm done with this. I don't even think Zombies Chronicles 2 ever existed, but apparently it did. And if that's true, then what happened? Why did Zombies Chronicles 2 never release? Because if we look at all of the data from the first one, it was the best-selling DLC on the PlayStation 4 in the US back in 2017. I'm not too sure if this record still stands now, but it was the best-selling Call of Duty DLC ever. And so you would expect a Zombies Chronicles 2 containing all of the maps that we didn't get in the first one, which would have been Transit, Die Rise, and Buried, along with an apparent Call of the Dead remaster, even though technically we kind of got that with Tag der Toten. It wasn't a true remake. A Nuketown Zombies remaster, the same applies to that, and a Mob of the Dead remaster. We did have Blood of the Dead in Black Ops 4, but that wasn't a one-to-one remake like the Zombies Chronicles maps are supposed to be. So technically the only 3 maps that we never had back as remasters were Transit, Die Rise, and Buried, but of course 3 maps isn't really enough for a DLC pack, considering how many were in the first, so more than likely it would have also contained Call of the Dead, Nuketown, and Mob of the Dead. And considering we're now in 2024, games like Black Ops 3 Zombies are old. Believe it or not, that came out in 2015. Almost 10 years ago. Maps on that game such as Shadows of Evil, The Rise and Draka, Garrod Kurovi, Zetsubonoshima and Revelations are old. Although they don't look terrible, they still look pretty good. Graphics have improved quite a bit since then, so if Treyarch ever were going to give us Zombies Chronicles 2 in the future, I would more than happily accept all of the BO3 maps to return as remasters as well. But none of that really matters because, well, I'm not too sure this DLC pack is ever going to come into fruition now, and I questioned, did it even exist? And if it did, what happened? Well, this all started with Black Ops 4. Around about a quarter way through that game's life cycle, we started getting rumours that towards the end, we would be getting a year 2 of BO4 Zombies, and that year 2 would include remastered maps such as Transit, Die Rise and Buried. That was a really heavy rumour, and to kind of back that up, assets from all of those maps could be found in the Blackout mode. So the manor that the witch is in from Buried, you could find that in BO4's Blackout. Some of Transit's assets such as the bus could be found on one of BO4's multiplayer maps. To my knowledge, there wasn't really anything Die Rise related in that game, but we could see assets from these apparent remastered maps Treyarch had already added into Black Ops 4, so people were saying, well, half of what we're going to be seeing in these Zombies maps are already in Blackout. Treyarch have already added them into the MP because these maps have already been made to release as Zombies Chronicles 2 for year 2 in BO4. But, well, we know that never happened, and the excuse was it was sidelined. Because of the situation that Black Ops 4 got itself into, there are 2 points here. 1, the Zombies mode specifically was a failure, and I say that in respect to Call of Duty's terms. If you just look at the marketing for Black Ops 4 before it even released, you could tell how heavily focused this game was on the Zombies mode. We got the real life mystery box, we had 4 Zombies maps on day 1. You could tell Treyarch really wanted to go heavy on the Zombies mode in this game, but quickly after it released, the reception wasn't what Treyarch expected. Yes, it did have a lot of problems. The blue screen of death, the maps Classified, Blood of the Dead, Ancient Evil and Voyage of Despair weren't loved, not really, not as you would expect, and so Zombies slowly died down as we got on through the DLC life cycles. DLC 1, or actually it was seasons we got in BO4, the standard DLC 1, 2, 3 and 4 was scrapped, but you know what I mean. The first DLC map, which was Dead of the Night, completely flopped. The majority of that was Treyarch's fault for just not marketing it, and then since then, it never recovered. With Ancient Evil, Alpha Omega and Tag der Toten, the interest continued to drop. I think it went up a little bit towards the end when the final 2 Ether maps returned, but BO4 Zombies was supposed to be huge, and to go along with that, Activision and Treyarch planned a year 2, and in year 2 we're going to release these remastered Zombies Chronicles maps, but that was sidelined. Activision said, okay, we're not going to do a year 2 of BO4, and instead Treyarch are now going to move over to work on their next COD game, which was Black Ops Cold War. Now the interesting thing is, Black Ops Cold War wasn't even supposed to be Treyarch's game, that was a Sledgehammer game. We don't know the full story, or I'm not 100% sure what went down here, but I believe Sledgehammer did about 6 months to a year's work on it before Treyarch came in for the final year and a half, 2 years, and finished it off. So with them now having no time to finish off Zombies Chronicles 2 in BO4, the rumour then was from all of these leakers that it was going to release in Cold War, and of course, that never happened. During that time, Tom Henderson, who is a very credible leaker, as we got towards the end of Cold War's life cycle, he said Treyarch still have these Zombies Chronicles 2 maps ready to go, but he wasn't sure if they would release during Cold War. So Tom Henderson, who I would say by now is probably the most famous leaker, not only in the COD community but gaming as a whole, he has his website Insider Gaming, said Zombies Chronicles 2 was finished and ready to release in Cold War, but he wasn't sure if Treyarch would release them, and obviously they didn't. And the question is then, well, why? If those maps were finished, why wouldn't Treyarch just release them? If we look at the original Zombies Chronicles maps, they didn't actually come out until about 8 months after BO3's life cycle finished, and since Cold War we've had Zombies game after Zombies game. There hasn't really been that break like we had between BO3 and BO4, because straight after Cold War we got Vanguard Zombies. Treyarch are not going to release a DLC on an older Zombies game when the new one is out. So when you think about it, that's a valid excuse. There wasn't really a gap where Zombies Chronicles 2 could have released on Cold War, and so when it came to the release of Vanguard Zombies, by that time the whole idea of Zombies Chronicles 2 was completely scrapped. From that point on there was really no mention of it, and it was believed to be dead. But as I'm sure a lot of you are thinking, well, that's weird. To pretty much, as we're led to believe, have Zombies Chronicles 2 complete. How many maps it would have contained, I don't know. Would it have been just Transit, Die, Rise and Buried? Would they have thrown in Call of the Dead, Nuketown and Mob of the Dead as well? I'm not sure. But to put all of that work in and then not release them, I've always thought was a little bit skeptical. And then to kind of confirm that, back in 2021, Kevin Drew, who is now the director of Zombies, he is the person who pretty much replaced Jason Blundell. A lot of people, as you would expect, message him asking him to make Zombies Chronicles 2 or release it, and it got to the point where it was so much he tweeted out this: "It feels like I want to give 10k to whoever can make Zombies Chronicles 2 and get these people out of my mentions." He then went on to say, "Let me be clear, please keep asking for Zombies Chronicles 2. That passion and demand is what keeps the door open to the possibility of it. Just maybe don't ask in my tweets about a painful situation at work." So when I read these I thought, hang on, we now have the director of Zombies saying he would give, in a joking way, 10k to whoever could make Zombies Chronicles 2, but that we should also keep asking for it, because it's that passion and demand that keeps the door open to the possibility of it. To me that sounds like, well, Zombies Chronicles 2 was never made. If the director is saying he would give 10k to anyone who could make it, well that means it's not made. And so all of those leaks and rumours surely weren't true, and there's no substance to it. Who do you believe? On one hand we have the director of Zombies saying, we haven't made Zombies Chronicles 2, but please keep asking for it, because maybe then the higher ups, Activision, will let us do it. But at the same time you have leakers saying actually Zombies Chronicles 2 was pretty much completed. And this was back in 2021, and surprisingly, or actually unsurprisingly, that was the last time we heard of it. Since then, all of these leakers, the director, no one has spoken about it, which has left us, the players, stuck in the middle. A lot of people still hoping that Zombies Chronicles 2 will happen, but where I got to a while ago, because the last time I made a Zombies Chronicles 2 video was about a year ago, I think that was the last time I spoke about it, I said I'm done with this because I don't even think it ever existed. But this story of what we've been told since 2018, Black Ops 4, up until 2021 and even now, is crazy. And it's still going on, because if we look at an article from back in September of 2023 from Tom Henderson over on Insider Gaming, he said Activision's 2024 COD title, which is codenamed Cerberus, is in development by Treyarch Games, and if the rumour is believed to be true, could suggest Activision will be doing the same strategy for the Black Ops series. We now know in May 2024 that's real, but then he also says it's possible that Treyarch could be planning to release the highly rumoured Zombies Chronicles 2 then too. He said this only back in September of 2023. So we went from a year 2 of Black Ops 4 was definitely happening and that we would be getting Zombies Chronicles 2, to then year 2 wasn't happening because Treyarch were forced to work on Cold War Zombies, and so Zombies Chronicles 2 would release in that game, but because of the release of Vanguard Zombies straight after, that then meant Zombies Chronicles 2 wasn't possible because releasing it on an older game makes no sense, and it was never going to release on Vanguard Zombies because that wasn't a Treyarch game. It's the same for MW3 Zombies. The idea of Zombies Chronicles 2 then completely died, but we're still left with hope now and again because we get these leakers telling us that there's a chance that it's still happening. Personally, I don't believe it, but that's the sad story of Zombies Chronicles 2. So there we go. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Would you love this? I'm sure you would, but do you believe it? If you've enjoyed, drop a like rating, make sure you are subscribed to stay up to date with the latest videos on the channel. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Until then, goodbye.